One match remains in Pittsburgh at the NCAA Volleyball Championship. Wisconsin gets a third shot at volleyball's biggest prize, but they will have to take down the defending national champion. Stanford has won more titles than any other school in the history of volleyball. They've spent their careers fighting for this moment, and now they will play for a national championship.
Welcome live to Pittsburgh in a sold-out PPG Paints Arena. Wisconsin Badgers take on the top-seeded Baylor Bears. Baylor takes the opening set. What a good decision by Retke. Tied at one set apiece. Sydney Hilly, what a smart shot. Good swing by Haggerty. Roof by Retke against Presley. And Wisconsin up 2-1 now over Baylor. Hilly showing that she's got some chops as a blocker as well. Wisconsin is moving on to the championship. Stanford taking on Minnesota. Minnesota is celebrating that with good reason. Megan McClure, number 4 in white, putting a period on that opening set. Plummer through the block and down. Right side, Mayabe again. Jenna Gray is really running a beautiful offense. Stanford leads it 2-0. Beautiful swing by number 19. Another block, Catherine Plummer again. On the end line, and Stanford is moving on.
In Pittsburgh, we're getting ready to crown a champion. Stanford looks to repeat. Wisconsin looks to make history. Can they get their first volleyball title? We will find out tonight inside PPG Paints Arena. Courtney Lyle and Salima Rockwell with you. So much work has gone into making it to this point. Salima, you've been a player and a coach in this match. What does it feel like going into this?
I tell you, it's such an exciting time. You know, you work so hard all season to get to the point, get to this point right here. You wake up with a little bit different energy. You wake up early. You want the match to be at noon, and you're just hoping to get it going because all season long, you works just super hard to get to this point.
Kelly Sheffield and Wisconsin have been here 3 times before, but nobody on this Wisconsin team currently has played in this match until tonight. Coach Sheffield caught up with Holly Rowe.
Coach Sheffield, every coach I've ever done an interview with in this situation said all we have to do is serve and pass well. But the good news is you have some real serving swagger coming into this match tonight. How have you been able to be so good from the service line?
I mean, yeah, you've got to have confidence back here. You've got to be able to let it rip. It's our kids, they've worked hard for it. So it's a big part of our game. Certainly we've got to get teams out of system. We certainly got to get a team like Stanford out of system.
Getting them out of system to try to slow down their All-American Catherine Plummer, but you've got an All-American of your own in Dana Retke. How can you get her going and at high velocity tonight?
There you go. We've got to pass the ball. We've got to be able to control it so we can get her the ball. We've got to have a little bit balanced offense, but she's a big part of it.
You guys have never been in this situation, the kids tonight, but you've been doing mindfulness training all year long. What did you ask them to do today to be mindful and prepared tonight?
Oh, I don't know. I think you trust what you've done to get to this point. You know, it's that's one of the great things about our conference is it prepares you for great matches. We play big matches every week, and right now, go out there and have fun. I mean, that's a big thing. The competitiveness is going to be there. You got to make sure that you're enjoying the moments.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
It's been fascinating to watch the journey Wisconsin has been on this season. They started at 4-4, and guess how they finished? As Big Ten champions, and here they are, the number 4 overall seed in the tournament in the national championship match for the 3rd time in program history. Man, it's really nice when you need to turn around a program to have somebody like Dana Retke, an All-American, who is helping you out in the middle.
Well, and I tell you, there's no player like Dana Retke. And last Thursday night, she got slowed down just a little bit early on. But the beauty of Dana Retke is she never loses her steam. She never gets in her own head. She was a force at the net, offensively blocking, and she was also driving the ball from the end line. So when she wasn't in the front row, she was also scoring from the service line.
Dana Retke Impressive, 19 kills, hit .484 in the semifinals with 8 blocks. She just owned the net and was all over it for Wisconsin. That really helps them advance to the final here tonight. Well, they also have Molly Haggerty, who has been a stud, and she comes from an athletic volleyball family. In fact, her family has a ton of experience playing in the NCAA championship. Megan Haggerty was with Nebraska, helped them win a title. Maddie Haggerty played at Michigan State. Both of them were in the stands cheering on Molly when she had one of her most confident matches in the semifinals.
It was an unbelievable display of volleyball what Molly Haggerty did in the semis. She was huge. Started off on fire with 8 kills, hitting 500 in the first 2 sets. And it was her all-around game that really did it and sparked the Badgers to win on Thursday night. She and Grace Loberg are going to need to have huge matches tonight to beat the Cardinal.
Yeah, Molly Haggerty from the outside hit over 400. That's a pretty good night. 15 kills, 9 digs for her. And all of this after an injury that could have taken volleyball away forever.
Nice set. And Haggerty's kind of night.
Molly's a great story. Has a back injury, has back surgery, serious back surgery, and then re-aggravates it in a way that they thought, man, her career may be done.
Going into my sophomore year was something I would never have thought was going to happen to me.
Just to see her fight and her drive and have her overcome that adversity was so inspiring.
Honestly thankful it happened, because I don't know if I would have learned how tough I was as a person if I didn't, and it made me appreciate volleyball and my teammates a lot more.
She just has this swagger and this mentality that you don't mess with her.
Presley over the top, Haggerty again.
She's playing as well as she's ever played in her entire career and has as much confidence as she's ever had. And all of that comes from the work that she's put in.
Her numbers are off the charts right now, and it's just so incredible.
Beautiful shot into the cross court for number 23 in red.
Molly Haggerty is going to be a lot to handle for this Stanford team. The good news, though, if you're a Cardinal fan, is that the experience is probably on Stanford's side. It's unbelievable what the senior class has led this Stanford program to do. They are making their 4th trip to this round of the tournament. They're trying to get their 3rd title in 4 seasons, and the record of the senior class, 21-1 in the NCAA tournament.
I would describe my class's success as just setting a really high standard for ourselves. And that's not just on the volleyball court, but that's in the classroom and with our friends too. We've put a lot of our focus on building really strong relationships with our teammates and with whoever we're around, because we believe that's the foundation of making a program excellent.
So we bring in just so many different personalities, and somehow we all work together really well and complement each other, especially now by this 4th year. We have so much trust in each other, and there's so much almost nonverbal communication that you don't even have to say, you just know they're going to go for it. So I think that provides a really strong foundation.
They just want to be great, and they're not done. Not one of our seniors thinks that they're a complete player yet. They all are trying to get better every single day. And so that sets a tone again in the gym and inside that group where they're not ever going to take a play off.
I think this one would be the most special just because there has been a lot of talk and there has been a lot of pressure, and managing expectations is really hard. But at the end of the day, it's really just about each other and our teammates and not what other people are saying. So I think just winning it for each other will mean the most.
This championship would be more special because we would be doing it in our final year together. This weekend is a bunch of laughs for us. So I think it kind of would just be the cherry on top of putting an end to our senior year.
The Stanford senior class has 2 national championships. That experience could make a difference tonight.
Oh, absolutely. It's hard to put a value on experience, but I tell you, it doesn't guarantee success, but it actually puts you in a favorable advantage. Having been here over and over again is huge for Stanford, and it's going to be big for them tonight.
Kevin Hambley leads this Stanford group, and he caught up with our Holly Rowe.
Coach Hambley, very few things can make up for experience in life, and there's just been this loose vibe and fun about your team all championship. How does that stay in effect tonight, trying to win their third in 4 years?
Well, I think it's imperative that we stay loose because that's who we are and that's when we play. That's how we play the best. And I think they're used to this and they've been here and they know what it's about and they know how to kind of separate the event, like we talked about last night or 2 nights ago, the event from the match. And that's what a lot of our conversations have been about. But mostly, I just think they really enjoy it. So it's really easy, and they're goofballs, and so it's really easy for them to stay loose.
Goofballs are good.
Yeah.
So I heard you say at practice the other day, should this be the Catherine Plummer show? And I think it should be.
Yeah.
Like, don't you have to rely on your All-American?
I mean, I think she needs to have a great match in order for us to have a chance. I think for us, we want to make sure that we don't just overuse her and just like she bails us out of everything because we have some other great players that can do a lot. So there's going to be a balance there. But I think, like I said in the press conference the other day, if I look at the score sheet and she doesn't have the most swings in the match, not just on our side of the net, I'll be shocked. I mean, so she'll get plenty of work, but we need to get a little bit more going. They're so good defensively that if we don't have balance, they could start figuring us out a little bit.
Have fun tonight.
All right, we always do. Thanks.
Catherine Plummer loves this setting. She lives for it. The 2-time National Player of the Year actually missed 10 matches this season with an undisclosed injury, but most impressive, she has come back better than ever, and we saw that in the semifinals against Minnesota.
Oh, man, we did. Watching her on Thursday night in the semifinal was a sight to behold. She was unbelievable. Took some swings and hit some angles that I actually haven't seen anyone hit in ages. And I'm telling you that the rest that she had over the course of the season has been huge for her. She's not just back, she's back and playing better than she has.
Crazy numbers, 26 kills, the most in a 3-set tournament match since 2004. That was what Catherine Plummer did in the semifinals on Thursday. But not only do they have Catherine Plummer, Morgan Hintz is leading a defense, and watching her is like watching a highlight reel.
Oh, it's unbelievable. She just flies around the court, reads the game so well. It's hard to figure out why she's so good, but it's her volleyball IQ. And when she flies after this ball, it's the touch on the ball that keeps them in system. She can make a fantastic play, dive into the middle of the court. Jenna Gray is underneath the ball, and they are still able to run their offense. Morgan Hintz is the difference maker for Stanford.
A semifinal record 23 digs for Morgan Hintz. Countdown is on. More from Pittsburgh when we come back. Approaching 13 minutes until first serve here at the National Championship in Pittsburgh, Wisconsin, and Stanford getting set to go, a title on the line. There has only been one program this year that has gone undefeated against these two teams. That would be Washington, and we're joined now by Washington head coach Keegan Cook. And you guys played Wisconsin back in September and actually played them back-to-back times. How have they changed from September to what we saw Thursday in the semifinals?
Yeah, like all the right teams are better, and mostly in serve-receive. I think their DSs are playing at a really high level. They're handling the load of reception, and it's just changed their offense completely.
And if you take a look at Stanford, back then they had Catherine Plummer. She was on her way out, actually, on her way to the injury at that point. Now that she's back and healthy, how do you defend someone like Catherine Plummer playing at this level?
Yeah, it's a team effort, but more than that, you got to make her do multiple things. You got to make her pass, got to make her defend. You just make it about hitting and blocking, it's going to be tough.
Yeah. Catherine Plummer, definitely a tough player to go up against. Keegan, I'm sorry we got to cut it short. We're getting ready for a match here. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy the night.
Thank you.
Countdown continues. National Championship first serve coming up. More from Pittsburgh on the other side. Well, we're lucky to have someone who has set in the National Championship match. Back in 1993, our own Salima Rockwell, then Salima Davidson, a 3-time All-American, played in the 1993 National Championship match for Penn State. They would eventually fall to Long Beach State, but she had the experience as a player and a coach on this stage, and I know she's going to kill us because she didn't know we were doing that.
Unbelievable.
I know you're excited to watch the setters we have here. 2 All-American setters just like yourself.
I absolutely am, and we have 2 of the best setters in the country playing the game tonight, and you're going to see Sydney Hilly flinging that ball on any kind of pass to Dana Recchi. That's the beauty of both of these setters. They can keep them in system no matter where the pass is. If Wisconsin has to count on Grace Loberg and Molly Haggerty out of system, that's going to be a challenge for them tonight. So you go with Jenna Gray and Stanford, and it's the same story. She is able to keep her team in system no matter what, but the X factor is Catherine Plummer. They have Catherine Plummer in the game, front row, back row, and she can score from anywhere on the court.
The Pens are so exciting to watch, but these young ladies who run the offenses are so impressive how they do this under pressure, both top 10 in the nation in assists per set. The offenses that we have on display tonight at the national championship match are great. Time now for the national anthem. Let's get you to Angelino D'Amico for the anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats to honor America and those who support our freedom at home and abroad. Tonight, the colors are presented by the Pittsburgh Police Ceremonial Honor Guard. And now, please welcome 13-year-old Angelina D'Amico and join her in the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave o'er the land of the free and the hum of the brave.
Wow, Angelina D'Amico, thank you. It is an honor and a privilege to make it to the national championship. Let's introduce you to the starters.
Hello, Volleyball Nation. I'm Sarah Dodd, and I am proud to announce your fellow Lady Badgers. We have number 1, who doesn't like to run and has huge guns and nice buns, Lauren Barnes. Our compass, number 2, who guides us through and dishes sets better than anyone you ever knew, Sydney Haley. She decided to stay a 5th year. Our team grandma, Madison Duello. She just so happens to be over 1.5 feet taller than me, Dana Recchi. So lovable she has a last name to prove it, Danielle Hart. She balls so hard you might mistake her for Jordan, and keep in mind she's single. Molly Haggerty. Her headbands will make you dance and her digs will make you pee your pants, Tiffany Clark.
Hi, I'm Caitlin. And I'm Michaela. We're the Keefe twins, and this is our squad. First, our setter, Jenna Gray. Team prankster and spear thrower. 2-time player of the year, Catherine Plummer Smash. Holly Taylor Swift's lookalike Campbell at middle blocker. In and out lover, Megan McClure. Kate Formico, best passer and best laugher. Mrs. Worldwide, Adriana Fitzmaurice. Middle blocker, Madeline Gates, or should we say Madeline Wall. Serving specialist and secret FBI agent, Sydney Wilson. And the mayor of Hentzville, everyone's favorite libero, Morgan Hentz.
So much hard work has gotten these young ladies to this point. Only one team will leave Pittsburgh with a national championship. The biggest moment of their careers starts right now.
by inch, mile after mile. The trek to the top is a grind. You see, they understand the work ethic here. It's in the heart and homes, in the foundation and the folklore of the city forged by steel. Two teams remain, having survived a 64-team test. With one more step to climb, more energy must be burned.
Can't hold me like it used to. Control me like it used to. 'Cause I know
they must find more fire inside to finish the long ride and win. This is the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship.
One more step.
Are you ready? Stanford and Wisconsin are. Paul Sunderland and Karch Karai have the call for the 2019 National Championship.
Thank you, Courtney. The wait is over, and it's time to decide a champion. Will it be the Stanford Cardinal, looking for their third title in 4 years and 9th overall, or the Wisconsin Badgers, hoping to make history with their first ever championship? Hi again, everybody, with U.S. Olympic team head coach Karch Karai. I'm Paul Sunderland. Seems like the semifinals were a week ago. I couldn't wait for this match to get here. Top two teams. Most experts expected it to be Stanford and Wisconsin. The margin of victory will be small. What decides it?
Stanford has two huge edges. Number one, their experience. This group of seniors won with Inky Ajanaku. They were the Inkettes 3 years ago, 2 titles in the last 3 years. And they have Catherine Plummer. She was 2-time National Player of the Year, out for a while this year, but back from injury and better than ever. On the Wisconsin side, they're battle-tested. They've won the toughest conference in the nation, the Big Ten. They have a really balanced offense, and they've got a very improved serving and passing game, and they're going to have to use that to knock Stanford out of its offense.
And they knocked off the #1 seed Baylor Bears in the semifinal. For more on this big matchup, let's go over to Holly Rowe.
Well, you talk about those two big arms for these teams. Stanford with Catherine Plummer and Dana Redke of Wisconsin, but they have two all-class, first-class quarterbacks who are helping get them the ball and distribute to these offenses. There is an All-American on both sides of the net. Jenna Gray for Stanford is a 3-time first-team All-American. She runs the show. Her coach says she has the best EQ, emotional quotient he's ever seen, knowing who needs what, when, and how to deliver it to them on this Stanford offense. And for Wisconsin, Sydney Hilly has been a first-team All-American this season. She is setting maybe the tallest, most highest jumping player in America, and Dana Redke, and she said, I just know what she needs and how to get her the right ball at the right time. Two setters who have the feel and the pulse of their team will see who leads them to a victory tonight.
Thank you, Holly. 17th national final for the Stanford Cardinal. As I've mentioned, they've won more than anybody else. For the Wisconsin Badgers, their first appearance in the championship was in 2000. It was another 13 years before they got back. And now in 2019, the Badgers are looking for their first ever championship. 5th meeting all time, 3rd in the NCAA tournament between Stanford and Wisconsin. Stanford is a perfect 4-0. As the higher seed, the #3 seed, the Stanford Cardinal will be designated as the home team. And there is Catherine Plummer, 26 kills on Thursday night. She carries a huge load and puts away a lot of tough balls. She's like a running back. When it's 4th and 1, they give the ball to Catherine Plummer.
That was an example of such a tough play. Stanford, not a good pass. Plummer cleans up.
Plummer's averaging almost 7 kills per set, hitting over 400, 2.5 digs per set in the tournament so far. Those are unheard of numbers for an outside hitter. That ball tucked nicely inside. Best 3 out of 5 sets. First 4 sets to 25 points. If we get to a 15-point tiebreaker, it'll be played to 15. The challenge system, of course, is in effect, and going back to serve could be a key. Izzy Ashburn, 5'11" freshman out of Dayton, Minnesota, and led the Big Ten Conference in aces with 45. We saw her in Madison last week, and both of us jaws dropped when she served the ball for the first time. McClure handles it well. Transition is vitally important for both teams. Haggerty's first swing. Plummer out of the middle. Retke there to slow it down. Number 16 in red. Good touch by Retke. Boy, going away from Catherine Plummer a lot here. Holly Campbell, 6'3", sophomore out of Austin, Texas, able to put down the soft shot, Karch.
Yeah, and Wisconsin had a number of swings on that play, Paul. The best one they had in that rally, they got the ball to Plummer, and they pulled her almost onto the floor, way into the court. They can't give easy ones to Morgan Hentz.
Something really important to look for on the side of Wisconsin. I'll get to that in just a moment. Overpass. Campbell able to snap that ball down, and Tiffany Clark can't come up with it. Molly Haggerty, the 6'1" redshirt junior from Glen Ellen, Illinois, had 15 kills in the semifinals in their 3-1 victory over Baylor. Speaking with Coach Kelly Sheffield early this morning, she woke up with a virus. She is not 100%, but you'll notice she wears number 23. Out of Chicago, a big Michael Jordan fan, and she remembers well the flu that he played with against the Utah Jazz. She wouldn't miss this for anything with everything she's gone through in the back surgeries. Good defense so far, particularly for Stanford, and another very tough swing. For number 2, Catherine Plummer, twice the National Player of the Year, now a senior. 113 kills, 19 blocks, 42 digs coming in to this final.
If she hadn't been injured so long this season, she would have been eligible for another award, and I think been one of the front runners. The actual winner, Yossi Presley, great season for Baylor, but Plummer wasn't even eligible.
That's a good sign for Wisconsin. First kill for Haggerty after 3 or 4 attempts.
Yeah, you don't beat Morgan Hentz cross court very often with heat. She does a really nice job of keeping that ball high on her team's side of the net.
Here is Haggerty.
What
nice pass. Good serve. Absolutely the combination thereof. Haggerty a dig right on target. What a set. Morgan Hentz just dropping a dime to Catherine Plummer, who tucks it down the line. Let's take a look at 2 outstanding coaches. Kevin Hambly in his 3rd year at Stanford. He's only won 93 matches, but lost 9. What's going on there? National championship last year when his Cardinal defeated Nebraska. And Kelly Sheffield in his 7th year, voted by the media as the Big Ten Coach of the Year. That's a beautiful swing off the right side by Dana Retke, a really unique player, Karch, at 6'8", the junior out of Riverside, Illinois.
Yeah, and they love that matchup because Megan McClure, the outside hitter and left side blocker for Stanford, is only 6 feet. So you got an 8-inch difference. They're going to run that a lot, Retke at McClure, when they have that.
Retke's averaging 4 kills per set, hitting over 415. Nice play by McClure. Off the block and down the sideline. Very, very intelligent play, and all she did was receive the Ace 90 award by the NCAA for the most outstanding student at the final, in the national semifinals. She 3.965.
And she plays her well for Stanford so well.
What a play by Morgan Hentz. Nobody else in the college game makes that dig. Both teams looking pretty comfortable. They're thinking, they're moving the ball around in their first ball contact. How would you describe the level so far?
So far, I'm really impressed. Watch this up by Hentz. She stays on her feet to begin the play, unlike some defenders who will go to their knee, and that allowed her to explode after that ball.
Perfect pass, but tight. Beautifully saved. Block into the cross court against Fitzmaurice. Ripped out of the back row. That ball's down. It went off of Emmy Dodge in area number 6, the middle back. and then contacted the floor. Catherine Plummer was superb out of the backcourt in their semifinal, a relatively easy win against Minnesota, the 7 seed.
And she likes to face to her left and then hit what you would call that thumb down ball. She's already crushed one from the right side and crushed one from the backcourt.
Took 51 swings in only 3 sets, and they were not that long. Good block touch.
That's it.
Plummer again out of the back row. That one is dug by Wisconsin and kept alive. That was outside the antenna. Really good work by the linesman, working down the sideline to get a good angle. That ball has got to come completely inside the antenna.
Yeah, and if Wisconsin doesn't have a swing, Paul, they can't give an easy play to Stanford. They have to tip it to Plummer, get her on the floor so she's out of transition.
There is Kate Formico, who really has improved and given some valuable serving and defense to Stanford. Duello and Loberg struggled the other night relative to what they've done all season. You look at their season numbers between them. Madison Duello and Grace Loberg average about 6 kills, hit about 262, but against Baylor in what was, after the opening set, a pretty easy win for the Badgers. They were only 12 for 51.
And if you look at the tournament, Duello is down about 80 points from her normal hitting efficiency. Loberg also down to about 200. Those are 2 key players in what is normally a balanced offense, an offense that allowed them to win the Big Ten.
If this call stands, Stanford will have a 9-4 lead. We're having our first challenge of the national championship match. Wisconsin and Stanford. Wisconsin was the number 4 seed, 27-6, 18-2 in the Big Ten Conference. They were the champions. And the challenge, you saw the ball was called out of bounds, but what Kelly Sheffield is challenging is whether or not there was a touch. 3 challenges per match, unless we go to the 5th set tiebreaker, when each coach and each team will get an additional challenge. Don't you think this is the toughest challenge to either confirm or reverse? I mean, it's really, really tough sometimes to see micro moves of the fingers.
It really is, but one of the ways you can tell that there's a good chance of a touch is just how many players on the offensive side were very sure of it. So they either heard or saw something, but you're right. You have to have a really highly technical system that goes at a very fast frame rate to be able to slow the game down enough, slow the ball down enough to see the micro touch.
One of the things that makes me think that there was no touch was Kate Formico, who I talked about was playing middle back, had a perfect look at the blockers in front of her, and she immediately dropped her hands as if she absolutely knew that ball was out of bounds. But the officials taking a very, very close look at it. The second referee, Daphne Nelson, she is in charge of video replay review.
One of the most important things that helps a coach is just listening to his players, especially the hitter. They're the ones who can tell most of all whether there was a good chance for a touch, and I saw Loberg pretty convinced about it. But that doesn't mean she's going to get the call, because, as you said, you have to have very convincing evidence.
Who took the swing?
Didn't Loberg take the swing?
I would have thought there was a touch too.
Yeah. So, but again, it doesn't mean the technology is going to be able to show it.
Once again, the ball was called out of bounds. If the call stands, it's 9-4, Stanford over Wisconsin. In order to overturn the call, there has to be absolutely irrefutable video evidence. And I guess if you just don't see it by now, it can't be there. You've seen every possible angle. And unlike in your game, Karch, at the Olympic level and internationally, when you use a challenge in college volleyball and you only have 3, whether you're right or wrong, it's gone. In international volleyball, if you're right, you keep it.
Yep. I think this was a wise challenge anyway, because it was a much longer delay than a normal timeout. And Stanford's up to a 9-4 lead, so this is a good way to just try to allow your team, as Coach Kelly Sheffield is, allow his team, the Badgers, to regroup.
Call will stand, point will stand. Stanford with a quick 5-point advantage. And good serve down the line by Formico.
That's what you have to do. If you can't kill it, got to get it to Plummer.
Madeline Gates, who is on a tournament record pace for efficiency, just putting up unbelievable numbers. She has yet to commit a hitting error in the tournament, let alone the semifinals and now the finals. Timeout is called by Wisconsin. Stanford going for number 2 in a row and 9 overall with a big early lead.
The NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship is brought to you by Domino's. Order online and track your order.
Back in Pittsburgh at PPG Paints Arena, national finals. Stanford up to a quick early lead coming out of the Wisconsin timeout. What have you seen from both teams early that people should be looking for?
Stanford defending the Wisconsin offense so well and also exerting more service pressure. So Wisconsin really having trouble finding kills. Another easy dig for Stanford.
And Jenna Gray is getting to set every ball in transition. Good block touch again, this time by Gates and on transition. And that is number 15's first hitting error of the tournament in 65 swings. She was on a record pace, 36 kills of 63 swings, 0 errors, hitting .571.
And what a great story for her, graduating in 3 years from UCLA, applying without telling anybody with the Stanford volleyball program that she applied to their grad school, wanting to get her master's in statistics. She got accepted, and then they started talking. And she's playing as a walk-on. They didn't even have a scholarship free for her.
And she's in graduate school. What does it cost to go to graduate school at Stanford?
I think Coach Hamley was guessing a cool $80,000 a year. What a great story. And almost a perfect attack tournament until that first error.
That ball is served out of bounds. You couldn't write a better script for the Stanford Cardinal. Megan McClure as well is hitting very, very efficiently, and she, like Catherine Plummer, not to the same degree, gets a number of difficult chances. And Tiffany Clark has been superb. 5'11" senior out of Naperville, Illinois, had 18 digs against Baylor in the semifinals. Really top libero. Stanford is passing lights out. Sydney Hilly read that like a book. What a dig by Morgan Hentz, but Stanford unable to keep that ball alive. That's something that Kelly Sheffield talked about a lot in serve and pass this morning, was being ready for the tip out of the play of Jenna Gray.
Yeah, and you said it, Paul. Sydney Hilly, who normally plays right back defense, read that and made an easy play for her team.
They got to get off McClure. She is passing the ball perfectly. Do you do that within a set, within a couple of rotations? If somebody looks really comfortable receiving, will you immediately go someplace else?
McClure is looking particularly comfortable. She might, on paper, be the target, but her history, a senior, she's been in the NCAA semifinals 4 times, the finals 3 times. Probably got to try some other people.
Tough swing for Haggerty. That ball bounced off the top of the tape and handcuffed Catherine Plummer. Plummer already with 5 kills on 8 swings, no errors. Stanford in the opening set hitting .429, 10 of 21, 1 error. Wisconsin only 190. Wisconsin hits .290 as an average on the year, as Ashburn will come on to serve again. Kind of an interesting role. Ashburn is like a relief pitcher. She just comes in and serves, and then she doesn't even participate. She'll play defense, but she will not come in and pass.
And that was a tough serve.
What a swing by Plummer again.
I've been so impressed, though. The good Wisconsin serves that have been crossing the net by only a few inches. Morgan Hentz has made spectacular moves. Is that a perfect pass? No, but that was a near ace. And it keeps the ball alive, and when you have Plummer to take the swing, all you have to do is make sure you don't get aced.
Kelly Sheffield said to his team at practice earlier today, look, I want us to serve hard, flat, and with lots of movement. I don't care who it goes to, but I'll tell you what, Wisconsin is like most of the elite teams in the Big Ten, a superb serving team, but Stanford's dealing right now in first contact. That ball hit out of bounds, and a big lead for the Cardinal, 14-8.
Yeah, lots of props to Formico, Hentz, McClure. They've got a solid passing core on the Stanford side. There's a good pass for Wisconsin.
On the slide, and that ball hammered through by Dana Rettke, who is a remarkable athlete. She was a dancer as a child, and credits that 13-year experience for her lateral movement. Most players over 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", and there have been several, particularly internationally, they play out on the wings. They're not in the middle moving laterally like she can. Another good pass. That ball set tight. That's going to be a net violation called against Jenna Gray. They changed the call. They have not given it to Gray. They gave that to Adriana Fitzmaurice. In either case, a much-needed point for Wisconsin. 14-10, plenty of time in this opening set.
And that's something Wisconsin also wants to do. Serve Plummer, make her carry a heavier load, more responsibility.
Loberg is rejected off the left side. Plummer along with 6'3" sophomore Holly Campbell. Stanford blocked 8 balls against Minnesota in the opening set on Thursday night. That was really a dominating performance.
Yeah, and they're well over their season average in the NCAA tournament. Again, that experience factor coming through.
Well, we talk about middles a lot with blocking, but Adriana Fitzmaurice and Catherine Plummer both average about a block per set, which is really a lot for an opposite, an oppo, and an outside hitter. That ball served over the sideline.
Yep, 2 of the stronger wing blockers that you're going to find.
Stanford got out to the quick 9-4 start. Timeout called by Wisconsin. Another tough serve, handled perfectly. Fitzmaurice again. Good soft block touch. And Wisconsin does not get a swing out of it. That's too easy. This free ball. And Wisconsin pays the price.
You know, 2 nights ago, Paul, we saw a similar play, and Dana Redke would have turned and actually attacked that ball. But her counterpounder, who's having a great season, Danielle Hart, gave it just so easily to Stanford that they're running the easiest offense, in-system offense possible.
Once again, Stanford really good within the rallies and in transition. They were superb the other night. Interesting note, we talked about Catherine Plummer, 26 kills. 21 of them came in transition. That is really, really tough swings against a well-formed block and defense.
And just to explain, transition is everything but this play. Here's what we would call a first ball play. Receive the serve, and there's not even a first ball swing on that. But any play that goes on, this is transition offense, continuation offense.
This would be a big win point-wise for Stanford. Wow. Stanford, and a fist pump from Kevin Hambley, the head coach on the sideline. Stanford was in a world of hurt.
The other night, they were much better in transition than in first ball, first serve receive offense. And here's another example. McClure putting it high, getting off the net, and then taking a great cross-court swing. Stanford well over 300 in transition offense.
McClure and Plummer are 10 of 15 with no errors. That's an important kill out of the middle by number 14, second team all Big Tenor Madison Duello. 6'3" redshirt senior out of Kansas City, Missouri. Both she and Loberg, as we talked about the other night, as good as Wisconsin was, they were only 12 of 51. And that can't happen again if Wisconsin wants to be in this match. Here is defensive specialist Lauren Barnes. Interesting story as she serves that ball out of bounds, and people have heard it before. She transferred from Minnesota last year. She played in 31 matches, and here she is starting for Wisconsin.
Within the conference.
Yeah.
And it used to be that you had to sit out a year if you were going to transfer to another school in your conference. That appears to be changing.
That's going to be a back row attacker. Sydney Hilly is in the backcourt here above the plane of the net. Ball crossed and automatically a violation. The lead is back up to 6 at 19-13. It's been all Stanford so far in this opening set. And Wisconsin will use their second and final timeout of this opening set. Kelly Sheffield looking over at Stanford, looking for some answers. Look, this Wisconsin team is absolutely superb. No question about that. They'll regroup. We expect this to be a long and very competitive match. Stanford has obviously a tremendous tradition in volleyball, but also under the guidance of Hall of Fame head coach Tara Vanderveer. Their basketball team that was ranked #1 in the country, and the basketball team had a special message for their counterparts.
Hi, Stanford Volleyball. Good luck tonight. We just finished practice, getting ready to go watch your guys win the national championship. And from your biggest fans, we love you, we love you, we love you. And where you go, we'll follow, we'll follow, we'll follow. Because we support the Cardinal, the Cardinal, the Cardinal. And that's the way we like it, we like it, we like it. Whoa! Whoa!
How good is that? The Cardinal basketball team ranked #1 for now, but as always, UConn, maybe Baylor will have something to say about that. Holly, what have you got?
Well, that Stanford basketball team, you could see the big Longhorn on the floor. They play on ESPN2 tomorrow at Texas. They are the #1 team in the country, undefeated so far this season. And I love it because they have such an infusion of top recruits, one of the #1 recruiting class in America. A lot of freshmen contributing to that Stanford volleyball team. Remember when this Stanford volleyball team, all those freshmen came in? That's what they've got going on in basketball right now. I love that they're all supporting each other.
Thank you, Holly. 19-13. Back to serve is Megan McClure. Again, 4 of 5 so far attacking with no errors. Stanford block and defense is everywhere right now. Nice play by Formico, right on target. That ball is alive, but free ball coming to the Cardinal. Madeline Gates again. Gates hammering that ball to the floor, hitting a cool 571 in the tournament. Unbelievable performance.
Great up by Hilly, but it is not enough. The Wisconsin offense having a great deal of trouble. First of all, controlling the serves of Stanford, and then just getting it past their block.
Dana Retke has 3 kills on 6 attempts, but the rest of the team for Wisconsin is hitting 0. Nice dig in the middle back by Barnes. But Duello cannot keep that ball alive, and Stanford continues to roll.
And remember what started this whole thing for Stanford 3 years ago, the regional final in Wisconsin. Wisconsin goes up 2-0. They go back into the locker room with their first-team All-American, Inky Ajanaku, and she implores these freshmen, just said, look, you got to start believing in yourself. You are capable of this. They storm back. They keep their tournament alive. They win, and here they are on the verge of 3 titles in 4 years.
Broke the hearts of Lauren Carlini, the All-American there, and now part of your Olympic team, Karch, and thousands of Wisconsin fans as Inky and the Inkettes, then freshman Catherine Plummer, Jenna Gray, Morgan Hentz, etc., just went on to have a phenomenal tournament.
Yep, and those 4, each in different positions, so they can contribute in so many ways. A setter senior, an outside, an opposite, and a libero.
That ball tipped over the top. Gates is she is just golden right now, whether attacking with heat or finding something around the block. Sydney Wilson, 6-foot junior out of Toronto, will come on to serve. Stanford 22-14. Stanford is hitting 424 to 118 for Wisconsin. Ace serve. This is not the Wisconsin team, Karch, that we've seen throughout the course of the season, particularly after they got off to the 4-4 start, and then they went 18-2 in the Big Ten, the nation's toughest conference. They are really struggling right now.
Yeah, and they had a huge reset early in the season, but their serve receive is getting broken down right now by the serving of Stanford.
Madison Duello able to pull that ball down inside the block. Her 3rd kill on 5 swings. She's being productive like Retke as she heads to the sideline.
But when you have Dana Retke in the front row and you can't set her the ball because you just can't control the opponent's serve, it's hurting Wisconsin offense huge.
Here is Ashburn. Wisconsin needs her to run off a couple of points. They're probably not going to win this opening set, but they need some momentum.
Nice save. Look for Retke.
Retke on the slide, able to hammer that ball to the floor. Look, Karch, you've been behind in a lot of sets as a player and a coach, but even though if you think it's going to be gone, you still have an opportunity to find something that can carry over.
Absolutely, even if you don't win this, and part of it is what can Wisconsin do? Ashburn hit another great serve, and that one finally Hentz wasn't able to control.
Jenna Gray injured herself along the sideline. There's some blood on Gray's hand as she went over into the scorer's table to retrieve that ball. Doesn't look like she's in too much pain. Nice big smile on the senior's face. 6'1" senior out of Shawnee, Kansas.
Yeah, nice hustle, but you see her put her right hand down there. We don't know what she put it on, but certainly whatever it caused, they're going to wrap up quickly. They'll get time for that.
Stanford 29-4 on the year, 18-2 in the conference. You talked about Catherine Plummer. She was completely shut down from September 29th until November 7th. Missed 10 matches, and since she's come back, first match was slow. They only let her play back row and serve, but after that, she has been torching the opponent.
And it wasn't even what we've heard from other coaches, a lower extremity injury. They kept it top secret. We don't know. It could include the head. We don't know. But when she came back, Coach Hambly gave her so much credit. He said she is by far playing the best volleyball he's ever seen.
Here is Ashburn again. Tough serve, but just out of bounds. Yeah, we joked the other night during the semifinal. Look, we asked everybody with the Stanford team, their medical staff, coaches, you name it, and they kept that so secret. I mentioned that they keep secrets better than the CIA. Set points now for Gray. No worse for wear. She'll come on to serve.
And this is Stanford's strongest blocking lineup. Fitzmaurice on the right, Plummer on the left. A couple of imposing wing blockers.
Haggerty going to have to take a tough swing against that block. Good touch by Hentz. And Fitzmaurice, the ball was dug, but Ashburn was on the floor as well and could not recover. Wow. Stanford has been flawless throughout the course of this tournament, and even better than that so far tonight against an outstanding Wisconsin team. Catherine Plummer, 7 kills, no errors, a block, and a couple of digs, and the Cardinal up 1. They win at 25-16.
But I still want one step to the future, step to the future.
Bowl season rolls on Monday afternoon with the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl. UCF and quarterback Dylan Gabriel take on a stout Marshall defense, 2:30 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. Back with 3-time Olympic champion Karch Kirai on Paul Sunderland. All Stanford in the opening set hit 441 against one of the better block and defensive teams in the country. Remember, that's just their second set loss. They lost the opening set the other night to Yaziana Presley and Baylor, the #1 seeds, 27-25, and then after that came back to take control. But the opponent tonight, a little bit different.
And one of the differences, Paul, when you pass, when your team is receiving serve, and you put it in a good place, and you do that, 55-60% of the time, you're doing very well. Stanford was at only 40%, but they have Catherine Plummer to clean up. And so in that situation, they were hitting about 500, even off poor pass.
500, 11 kills in transition. A lot of those coming, of course, from Plummer, just like in their semifinal against Minnesota. Wisconsin's got to find a passing rhythm, hence all over that. Gates, not a good decision. She's either got to crack that or pass it to one of her teammates.
Yes, that was weak sauce.
First weak sauce of the weekend. It took us a while. Plummer. That ball right on the sideline. Holly Rowe, what do you got?
Well, after a disappointing first set, Kelly Sheffield gathered his team and he was talking to them about Stanford hitting out of system. He said, look, they are not passing great, but they are playing very well out of system. That's what we do best, is we get under that kind of stuff. He's really imploring his defense to get under that stuff out of system. Be ready for what they're bringing in. Blockers make better contact at the net.
Good reach by Gates, and then that ball through the seam. Another dig by Hentz, who had 23 in 3 sets on Thursday night, and that ball goes to the floor. We have not seen this from Wisconsin, Karch. There for the tip, 2 players going, stopping. They are really out of sorts right now.
Yeah, they're getting surprised by her off-speed shot, and it's a good one because she gets her arm back and ready to attack. But the other thing they're surprised by is that she hits that wrist away, that thumb down shot. So Haggerty was fooled by that the play before.
Dana Redke meeting her match this time. 6'6" Catherine Plummer with a stuff block on the outside. Remember, Plummer had 5 stuff blocks on her own against Minnesota in the opening set, and a quick start here for Stanford. McClure doing a good job at the service line as well as attacking, leading the way. 4 of 5. She misses that out of bounds. Catherine Plummer has now 9 kills on 15 swings. McClure with 4. Gates with 3, and Holly Campbell with 2. Adriana Fitzmaurice still a little bit quiet, 1 of 6. Here is Izzy Ashburn once again. That is really a tough serve.
But a good set.
Look at Plummer. Are you kidding me? She coming right over the top of her head, and she still put that ball away.
The numbers we're seeing on this broken play, Stanford is way better than when they don't have the broken play. And this is not well defended by Wisconsin. Their line digger steps up, anticipating the block taking that, but when the block doesn't take line, it's an easy kill for Plummer.
Not surprised the defender came in to cover tip because there's nobody else in the country that can hit that shot except for Plummer. And on the wrist away here. Catherine Plummer is just lighting up Wisconsin right now. Plummer in double figures already with 11 kills.
This is such, first of all, a great defensive play, but this is such a difficult swing to take, Paul, because it's coming from behind you. You can't even see the block. Plummer still gets it to the floor blind.
Molly Haggerty, number 23, able to find a small seam. We'll give you her numbers. Haggerty with 3 kills now on 12 swings. Dana Retke is 4 of 9. Wisconsin on the match, hitting 133. Stanford almost 500. Lots of time. Remember, Wisconsin is the team that won 18-2 in the country's best conference, the Big Ten. That ball drifts out of bounds. And they played the toughest schedule. There are 14 teams in the Big Ten. They played all the top teams, Minnesota, Penn State, Nebraska, all of the top teams twice, and still came out with the best record.
Yep, the Big Ten sent the most teams to the tournament, but don't forget that Stanford, when Plummer was healthy, played an incredibly tough preseason, won almost all of those, and that was part of Coach Kevin Hambley's plan. Is we've got to throw the very best in the country at this team. We've got a lot of good players coming back and got to have them prepped for the postseason tournament.
Nice dig by Clark. Fitzmaurice still looking to get on track. Hence again, and right there is Retke for the two-handed slam dink.
Stanford's leaving. Watch on your left here. Hence has the complete half of the court, maybe even more. But the other two defenders cover the right half of the court while she covers the left.
Well, there's a rule in Stanford's gym about defense. Adriana Fitzmaurice, 6'6" senior out of Overland Park, Kansas, and back to Morgan Hence. If you're playing middle back for Stanford, you never go to your left. No matter what you're thinking, do not turn left. Plummer back at the line. Stanford won the opening set easily, 25-16 on top already early, 7-3. Big block again. Holly Campbell, the sophomore out of Texas, Pac-12 freshman team a year ago. And remember, she lit it up in the national semifinals and finals in particular last year in the finals. She was 15 of 29 with only 1 error. They don't go to her a lot, but she can get the job done blocking. 3 blocks now and an ace serve down the line, working on Emmy Dodge. Wisconsin's reception is really broken down. 3 blocks for Stanford, none so far for Wisconsin.
And even though it's broken down, Wisconsin passing better. Their good pass percentage is at 45 versus 41 for Stanford.
Usually counterintuitive, but Wisconsin doesn't have Catherine Plummer. Coverage of the NCAA championships continues with the FCS Football National Championship Saturday, January 11th at 12 p.m. Eastern on ABC. For more information on the NCAA FCS Football Championship, visit ncaa.com. Your home for all 90 NCAA championships. There is former outstanding Wisconsin head coach Barry Alvarez, and now their director of athletics. He knows just a little something about football. The Badgers having another wonderful season in the Big Ten in football as well. Holly, what have you got?
It's a very busy week for Wisconsin athletics because a lot of people focused on this national championship, but they will have to make a quick turnaround for the Badger football team, who is playing in the Rose Bowl. In fact, the quarterback Jack Cohn is dating one of the young ladies on this volleyball team, so he may be out there watching the offensive line, sending them a special message today. So a lot of busy Badgers this year because they have been so good in championship moments.
Nice play by Wisconsin. A much-needed score this time by Danielle Hart. Hart, number 18, 6'4", redshirt sophomore out of Virginia Beach, hits at 316. Got off to a very slow start, Karch. Remember when we were in Madison last week? Tell us, first 10 matches, she was hitting 220, which is really not good for a middle attacker. But the last 15 matches, and right on cue, the last 15 matches of the Big Ten season, she was hitting over 350.
We were looking at some of her swings, and we were thinking, was that Dana Retke or was that Danielle
On film,
Hart?
It looks a lot alike.
She's really developed at a nice rate throughout the course of this season. Been a big part of their Big Ten title.
Nice pass by Plummer. And McClure again. Tiffany Clark has been making that play defensively throughout the season, but did not make it tonight going to her left.
And across the net, Hens probably comes up with that play. That's another difference, is the higher defensive efficiency of Morgan Hens, who just hit that serve.
Clark has been outstanding. Danielle Hart slowed down here. Nice block touch. And they're going to net violation. Boy, Megan McClure now has 6 kills on 7 swings, no errors. Stanford is hitting .478 on the night. Wisconsin only .148.
You got to give McClure such credit. Remember, early in the season, they weren't sure if they wanted to play her full time. They were playing her in the back and Kendall Kipp in the front. Then Plummer gets injured. They bring McClure back in, and they realize, you know what? She is like the glue that holds this team together. Never hurts them. Not going to cause them to lose, but just plays her role so well. Good ball control. Low error. She doesn't terminate like Plummer, but she doesn't hurt them just like she did on that last swing.
Stanford leading 11-6. Beautiful kill by Grace Loberg, and a service winner. Lauren Barnes, who came into these national championships, the semifinals and finals, with 24 aces, adding to her total. Stunning. There's a lot of red and cardinal in the building. It's a little hard to tell them apart. Tough serve again. McClure looking high flat. Clark might have dug a ball that was out of bounds.
Oh, Haggerty's got to jump and hit that. You can't stand and put it over with your forearms when you're 3 feet from the net.
Beautiful swing. Fitzmaurice now starting to feel it. Finding some rhythm for this championship match. He'll head to the slide line.
And watch, you might be able to get away against a different team with giving them a free ball, but against Stanford, no way. You've got to jump, get off the ground, and hit the ball downward.
Beautiful pass. What a saving pass by Barnes. That ball looked like it was going to drop right off the edge of the table. And Danielle Hart, a nice trip across the front row for number 18. And now Dana Retke comes in for Wisconsin, trailing by 4.
Yeah, Hart hitting over 400.
But as a team, once again, Wisconsin under 200, just needs a lot more help, and Wisconsin has not been good from the service line so far. Look at that. 115 points below. They were 5th ranked offense in the country. And that's against an awful lot of good Big Ten opponents. Retke off the top of the block and down. Retke now with 6 kills on 11 swings. She's having a nice night, but not enough attempts.
Yep, they're not passing well enough right now. Their passing percentages, their good passing percentages going up. Just got up above 50%. That means you can set your middles more.
Retke took 31 swings in 4 sets on Thursday night against Baylor. Nice stab by Retke. Not a lot of middle blockers will make that play. But again, they don't get a swing.
Another no swing.
Off the block and out of bounds. Boy, Jenna Gray, Pac-12 Setter of the Year for the 3rd year in a row. First team All-American for the 3rd year in a row. She's having the easiest night in the world. She's just walking up, clapping her hands, and the ball is perfect.
And it's not just Plummer, but all the Stanford hitters are doing a really nice job with. They don't terminate. It's almost a point because it's causing so much trouble. They get the ball back easier, and Plummer winning the battle against Retke again at the net. 2 premier college players battling.
Catherine Plummer working against Retke. Maybe they'll be Olympic teammates one day. Maybe sooner rather than later, but that is 2 stuffed blocks now for Plummer on Retke.
Yeah, if Stanford goes on to win this match, Retke's going to be happy to have Plummer on her side of the net more than the opposite side.
Both Retke and Coach Kelly Sheffield thought that there might have been a touch, but remember, he used one challenge early, so he's got to be very judicious. Instead, he won't challenge. Wisconsin will call timeout. Stanford in the championship up 1-0. And 16-9 here in the second. Christmas Eve will take you to paradise for the SoFi Hawaii Bowl in Honolulu. The quarterbacks could decide this one. Cole McDonald and Hawaii square off against Zach Wilson and BYU. 8 Eastern, 3 Hawaiian time on ESPN and the ESPN app. Karch, take us over to Wisconsin. They're getting outplayed in every phase of the game right now. Serve, receive, block defense, and attacking.
They're actually not getting outplayed in the reception phase, but they sure are in terms of as the play continues. They're getting almost no swings when the ball comes up on their side of the net. We call that transition. Their middles are getting kills, but the rest of the team, almost zero when you take those 6 errors away from the 8 kills. So they can't get any production when the play's a little broken. Meanwhile, Stanford's the people who take care of broken plays. Plummer, McClure, Fitzmaurice having great success.
Very nice deep serve by Sydney Wilson, and a tough swing off the edge of the block and down for Molly Haggerty. And once again, told at practice this morning, Haggerty was there, but she did not participate. Bundled up, got up this morning with a virus and fighting through that. Haggerty had 15 kills and 9 digs on Thursday night against Baylor. Catherine Plummer again. Wow. Out of system, first ball side out.
And again, I think the players for Wisconsin, yes, she has a cannon of an arm, but they're getting fooled because when she hits it at you, you think it's coming center, maybe at the center of your body, and it goes to your left. That time, Clark again fooled by the wrist away power of Catherine Plummer.
Plummer now with 12 kills, 19 swings, no errors. Error meaning you're blocked or hit a ball out of bounds. Nice response by Loberg. Should Wisconsin be doing something different in terms of positioning their block against Plummer in particular?
I'm sorry, say that again, Paul.
Should Wisconsin be doing something differently in terms of positioning their block, particularly against Plummer?
Absolutely. They're going to have to. We saw one play where they were going to try and shut down the line and run somebody up to catch the off-speed shot that she hides so well. So they're going to have better coordination between the 2 blockers at the net and the 4 defenders on the floor.
Fitzmaurice now with 4 kills on 11, starting to heat it up a little bit. Found a nice rhythm towards the end of that opening set. Good shot up into the block, restart the point. Wisconsin has got to convert these kind of rallies. They're not doing enough in transition.
Oh.
And Tiffany Clark, again, who has been superb at the libero. Just maybe a little bit jittery, making mistakes on her ball handling that she hadn't made in a long time.
She was phenomenal a week ago in Madison against Nebraska, but this is an easy deflection play. Instead, she sends it over. What she has to do is keep it on her side of the net, probably 8 feet off and high. Let her setter have time.
That ball is stuffed. Holly Campbell along with Fitzmaurice. Fitzmaurice at 6'6". Really a good wing blocker.
Yeah, one of the best in the country. And when she and Plummer at the net. Whew.
And the middles aren't bad either. Campbell along with Gates. Stanford's blocking about 3.5 balls per set, way above their season average, but so is Wisconsin.
Easy play for transition.
McClure high up into the block. Good hustle that time by Plummer. Making Hilly touch the first ball. Plummer out of the back row and missed it wide. That is the first hitting error of the night for Catherine Plummer on her 20th swing.
Hitting only .550. Unbelievable.
What are we going to do about her? Tough serve. And that's a shank pass against Plummer. One of the other things that Wisconsin was working on at their practice this morning, their shoot around, if you will, in basketball terminology. They wanted to serve area 1. That's the service area in the right back. And that's where Sydney Hilly is going right now after Plummer.
Yeah, and you could do it by serving cross court, or you can do it by serving down the line. Hilly finding some success, causing trouble.
Fitzmaurice is blocked. Hart with some help from Loberg on the outside. That is the first scoring block for Wisconsin. Play by Hintz, cutting off Plummer. That was really well done. Clark with the dig. Not a swing. No swing in transition. Plummer again and missed it out of bounds. Boy, that was a radical thumbs down, wrist away, and Plummer ran out of real estate. And a timeout is called by Stanford. Signs of hope, signs of life from the Gophers of Wisconsin. Dana Retke so far in the match, 6 of 13. She has been blocked or hit out of bounds 3 times. Let's go over to Holly Rowe for more on Dana Retke.
Well, we've been so fascinated by this woman. Such an athletic, graceful player, but she is 6'8". That is about the size of a WNBA center, but she does not move like that. She has got the greatest feet at the net. Watch this player at 6'8", able to take off on the slide. Very unusual. And then again, at the net, just beautiful footwork. She really credits her 13 years of dance. She said her favorite was tap and jazz. Danced her entire life growing up and has that great coordination, particularly in her lower body. And we actually were able to convince her to get a little tap dancing in. She said she hadn't done it for 10 years, but look what she was able to do. It's just like riding a bike. I've been told tap dancing, riding a bike, it all comes back. But it's so fun to see her move with such athleticism, such power, and such finesse at the net at 6'8".
She has had a remarkable career so far, and she still has a year to go. There you see some of the specifics. And going back to the 2017 National Freshman of the Year award, she was also a first-team All-American. Kelly Sheffield told us last week in Madison that there was some discussion and some thought about redshirting her first year. Let's clear that up.
And she was actually receiving her award at the end of the season, her Freshman of the Year award at the Players Banquet. She said, I didn't even know if I was going to play this year.
Let's clean something else up as well. I apologize. I said Gophers going into that timeout. Well, they're not here anymore. They played on Thursday night. Of course, these are the very proud Badgers. Nice dig by Dodge. Doesn't Wisconsin have to somehow create a swing out of that? And they pay the price again. Fitzmaurice is really starting to find a hot hand.
Yeah, Paul, we saw this the other night when Stanford just dismantled Minnesota. When the ball stays in play, when it's not a kill off Stanford's first swing, it rarely comes back at them with a swing. It's often a free ball, and then they have more transition offense. Here's another example of transition offense, but this time Wisconsin does get a swing.
Quality swing by Duello, Doug, and Morgan Hentz able to track that down. A rare free ball. Clark is all over it. Hard to get the ball over Catherine Plummer at 6'6", tipping out of the back court. Hilly is there with a pancake.
But no swing for Wisconsin.
And into the deep cross-court corner. That ball missed just out of bounds. And here comes Wisconsin.
Great hustle by Hilly. She has to do a lot. When Plummer's hitting out of the back court, Hilly has to be responsible for the hard-driven ball and the soft shot, and that's why she resorted to that emergency move of the pancake.
Is the serving better right now in this phase of the match from Wisconsin?
I think it is. They have Stanford at a good passing percentage of less than 40%.
Transition swing up into the block. Good cover. Nice hard work that time by #1 Barnes.
Way to take Plummer out of that transition play by Clark.
Got to keep that ball on your side of the net. Tiffany Clark in the libero jersey. Working hard, playing hard, but got to dig that ball at the 3-meter line.
Well, and as a coach, it's frustrating because you see her. Clark is going to put herself exactly where she needs to be. She makes a great read. That's great anticipation. But then the touch doesn't stay on her team's side of the net.
Good pass again by Wisconsin, but a better block. Megan McClure, who is a player you want to go after. She's only a 6-foot outside hitter out of Rancho Santa Margarita, but having the match of her life here in one of the biggest moments of her career.
Yep, lining up perfectly on this block. We would say that she'd be putting her outside hand on the ball, her left hand on the ball, leaving the hitter just a little bit of line to hit.
Wisconsin trailing by 7. Good swing down inside once again by Haggerty, who seems to be showing no signs of an early morning illness. But it's 23-17. It's been all Stanford. Hitting .362 on the match. whereas Wisconsin hitting only 132. 21 of 76. Stanford is 31 of 69. Stanford also has 6 blocks compared to only 1, and significantly more digs. And now it is set point Stanford 24-17. Stanford has 36 digs already, 13 of them by Morgan Hintz. Remember, she had 23, tied an all-time record in a 3-set match on Thursday night. Good pass. Jenna Gray with a nice block touch. And Gates down the line. Wow, interesting choice. You had Catherine Plummer out on the left looking like she was going to be one-on-one. But Madeline Gates just having a phenomenal tournament. She's only hitting 500 now. Stanford as a team is hitting 371. Let's go to Holly Rowe.
Well, Coach Hambly, off to a dominant start in this match. What do you think has been the most important reason for that?
Our defense. I think we've done a really nice job of picking balls and transitioning. I think our blocks picking up their offense, which is tough. We still haven't figured out Dana Redke, but I think in general we've been able to get them off the net enough with our serving and then be able to defend. Speaking
of your transition, you've been able to get some really good kills out of transition. Why are you so good at that right now?
We work really hard on it, and we got good setting, and we got good defensive players. So we're trying to be a highly skilled team. I think right now we look like that at times. Maybe not in serve receive so much. We got to sort through that a little bit, but in general, I think we got a great setter who can get our hitters in some great situations.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you so much.
And Holly, Kevin Hambly would say they also have Catherine Plummer, who's leading the way with 12 kills. In transition, Stanford is hitting .413. That is so gaudy. Coming up after the break, we'll get back to Courtney Lyle and Salima Rockwell.
One step to the future, step to the future. Been down, but I've been strong. This time it's a new song. Thought I lost, but I still won. One step to the future, step to the future.
The defending national champions feeling confident here in Pittsburgh. They lead it 2-0 over the 4-seed Wisconsin. Let's take a look at the Capital One Cup standings as teams compete for a combined $400,000 in student athlete scholarships from Capital One. Currently, men and women both being led by the Stanford Cardinal, and only a win tonight could help the Cardinal, and they are feeling pretty good about that, having won the first 2 sets. Welcome back to Pittsburgh. Courtney Lyle alongside Salima Rockwell, and wow, Stanford looks so comfortable here. They look confident, and that serve is mean.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, that's something they talked about earlier in practice today and throughout the week. They knew they had to put pressure on Wisconsin from the service line to be able to have success tonight. And what you're going to see is Wisconsin out of system enough that it's hard for them to get past the big Stanford block. That's something we talked about earlier in the show. If they have to rely on Lobert and Haggerty out of system, that's going to be a tough and long night for them.
And Stanford has 6 team blocks right now, but there have been so many more block touches that don't show up on the stat sheet that have really affected Wisconsin.
Well, that's exactly the case. The block touches are the story, and you don't see those on the stat sheet, but of course it's Catherine Plummer that's been taking over this match. We expected her to get a lot of swings in and out of transition. She is getting all the swings and scoring at an unbelievable rate right now.
Yeah, 12 kills for the 2-time National Player of the Year, hitting .455, a monster number for an outside. If you're Wisconsin, we saw a little bit of life coming late in that second set. What has to change now for the Badgers?
Well, what I think they've done a nice job of towards the end of that set was serving a little bit tougher, serving balls to Catherine Plummer, getting her on the floor, forcing her to be out of system and unavailable in the plays, and they have to take care of the ball on their side of the net. They need more distribution, and they need their side to be clean to win this match.
Third set is going to be a must-win for Wisconsin, or it will be Stanford again getting their 9th national championship. Paul and Karch, back to you.
Thank you, Courtney and Salima. Stanford very comfortably out of the locker room. Catherine Plummer, as I mentioned, leading the way with a 12 kills. McClure has been superb, 6 of 13. Adriana Fitzmaurice, and then Madeline Gates also with 6 kills apiece. 371 to 130. And once again, Grace Loberg is struggling, only 2 of 20, and Madison Duello 3 of 11. That's what happened the other night. even though they beat Baylor, that combo was only 12 of 51. Tonight, right now, they are 5 of 31.
Couple of shocking numbers, Paul. You want to pass well when the other team serves, and when you make a good pass, your setter doesn't have to move much. We mentioned it earlier. If you're doing well at that, you're hitting it, you're passing good or perfect in system in the high 50s. Wisconsin is doing that. They're far out passing Stanford, but Stanford is just so good at hitting those trouble sets that they're getting out of trouble. That you would never expect Stanford to win those two so decisively while losing the serve pass battle.
That was a perfect pass dialed up by McClure and Madeline Gates. In the NCAA tournament, 43 of 74, 1 error, hitting well above 575. Nice swing down the line. There is Grace Loberg with that kill. And in the intermission, our Holly Rowe was able to catch up with Kelly Sheffield.
Coach Sheffield, I know you pride yourself on playing Badger volleyball, which means gritty. How can your team get back in this right now?
Man, I mean, we're winning the serve pass game, but we're having a tough time defending in the backcourt. It's Plummer, man, she's got to be the best non-All-American in the history of our sport. She's really doing a good job out of system and in transition. We've got to, we're going to change the matchups here and see if that helps us out a little bit.
What will you change with the matchup?
We'll start in row 1. We'll get a little bit bigger block on her and see what happens.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, Holly.
That was another thing I wanted to note. Normally, Wisconsin wants to get Dana Retke at the net right away, but in this case, they've opted to change the matchups, get their pin hitters some better looks. But Hentz coming up with another dig, so Stanford gets more swings.
Smart shot into the block. That was a design tip up into the block by Plummer. Get the offensive rebound, restart the point. Nice play once again by Molly Haggerty into the cross court. Retke leading the way offensively, 6 kills on 13. Haggerty now takes over the lead, as a matter of fact, 7 kills, having another very nice night and a nice national championships, number 23 in red.
What a great line by Sheffield, the best non-All-American in the history of the game. And she is putting on a show.
They're getting to her, though, in serve receive. That could be a key. That ball right on the end line. And if you're wondering at home why Catherine Plummer was not an All-American this year, for the 4th time, mind you, she was first-team All-American freshman, sophomore, and junior year. When she missed those 10 matches, it meant that she did not play in a high enough percentage for Stanford in order to qualify for a ballot.
But that last play, indicative of this whole evening. Stanford didn't have a great pass. They set a good enough set to Adriana Fitzmaurice, and she kills it. They're having a phenomenal night with broken offense, having a great deal, hitting for a very high efficiency.
Tied at 3, 3rd set. Stanford won the opener 25-16, the second 25-17. And that's going to be an ace serve. Izzy Ashburn, the 5'11 freshman out of Dayton, Minnesota, adding to her total now with 47 aces at 46 coming in. And look at Stanford. They beat Minnesota 25-19, 25-22, 25-22. They've been making this tournament look pretty easy so far. Nice dig by Barnes down the line, but can they get a quality swing? Haggerty up into the block. No, they cannot. Fitzmaurice along with Campbell.
Earlier in the match, we saw Plummer put this ball away. Again, this is really difficult. Haggerty is looking back at the ball. It's coming over, and she can't even see that block. That's why you often see stuffed blocks on such a difficult view. And that ball going out of bounds into the antenna. The ball cannot touch that.
Stanford takes the 5-4 lead. Blocking has been all Stanford. 7-1 against Wisconsin. And coming in the tournament, Wisconsin was one of the best and hottest blocking teams in the tournament. I'll give you those numbers in just a minute. That's Morris trying to track that down, and she does legally. That ball rule touched off the block, out to Haggerty. Going off speed up into the block, offensive rebound. Haggerty again, nice swing down the line. She is having a really nice championships.
In that rally, Paul, we saw Retke getting 2 swings against McClure. That's one reason that Coach Sheffield changed the matchup so that he could get one of their primary offensive forces. And I can't remember, we talked about this before, it's unusual for a middle to lead your team in kills, but one way they're going to get Rettke, or think they can get Rettke going, is to have her hit against McClure.
That ball shanked out of bounds, and a lot of serves now going to Catherine Plummer, to a very positive effect for the Wisconsin Badgers. Yeah, Dana Rettke has not taken anywhere near the most swings on the team. It's either Haggerty or Duello or Loberg, but she's got the most kills because she hits over 400. Nice kill into the cross court. Number 4 in white. Megan McClure now 7 kills on 14 swings, no errors, hitting 500. Error in volleyball, attacking statistics. You get stuff straight down for a point on your side, or you hit the ball out of bounds.
And she's doubling her season efficiency. 242 on the season, 500 right now.
In the entire tournament, she only has 3 hitting errors. She's taken 95 swings. That ball nicely by Loberg. A little better offensive rhythm right now from Wisconsin.
Yep, I think the fact that Wisconsin changed those matchups, Loberg's having a little more success hitting against Jenna Gray at the net than against Fitzmaurice. And so they're seeing some more success out on the left side.
That ball missed out of bounds. The first hitting error of the night for McClure. Dana Rettke had 3 aces the other night, dialed up a bullet right there, and it was beautifully handled by Morgan Hintz. And that ball drifts out of bounds, and that makes it 8-7. This is a very rare lead for Rettke as she gives way to the libero, Tiffany Clark. In the opening set, Stanford got out 9-4. In the second set, they got out to a 16-9 lead. Were never really put under any pressure and cruised to the victory. Tough serve. Loberg going off speed. Plummer's out of the play.
That's what you want to do to cause trouble. Wisconsin finally earns itself a free ball back, but doesn't get a powerful swing. As opposed to that
would be described as a powerful swing. And keep an eye on Catherine Plummer. She went hard to the floor, and she's flexing her left knee. Remember, she missed 10 matches with an undisclosed and top secret, and I do mean top secret injury. I think only her doctor knows, and that's patient-doctor confidentiality.
But boy, are they happy to get her back better than ever. And another thing she said, that in the meantime, her fitness, her nutrition, and her serving got better. It looks like everything got better with that rest.
Nice little scoring run for Plummer and Stanford, and they recapture the lead after trailing 8-6. Plummer now with 13 kills. Stanford is hitting .383. Stanford is not on a record pace as far as the overall tournament. I'll give you that number in a second. Easy dig. Gates into the cross court and tracked down.
Another free ball to Stanford.
Right side to Gates, going over the top. Hilly. And they do not get a good swing in transition. They just cannot get swings. But Catherine Plummer, wow, what a performance she is putting on. 10-8.
And I think the block for Wisconsin just giving too much space. When on that very inside set, Plummer really good at taking those swings, even if she has to move 12 feet in, but then she has a lot of angle to hit at.
Well, that's why I asked you about Wisconsin's blocking positioning. About 80%, maybe more, seemingly, of the swings that she's taking. That ball missed out of the back court by Duello. Everything, not everything, but like I said, 80% from Catherine Plummer is thumb down, wrist away into the cross court, and a timeout called by Wisconsin. Stanford going for their 9th and well on their way. The college football playoff semifinals Saturday, December 28th on ESPN and the ESPN app. Heisman Trophy winner Joe Burrow and number 1 LSU take on number 4 Oklahoma in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific. Then it's number 2 Ohio State and number 3 Clemson in the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl. The winners play for the national championship Monday, January 13th. On ESPN. Once again, Stanford on top 2-0 and 11-8 here in the third. And Holly has a couple of very, very special and happy guests, I would presume.
Well, I'm here with Catherine Plummer's parents, and it has been such a long run for her, but how do you describe what you see from her tonight, really dominating?
She's got a smile on her face, Holly. It just makes the dad super proud that she's having fun, and that's what it's all about.
It really is interesting. She could have all the weight of the world on her shoulders, and yet she seems loose and enjoying this moment. Why do you think she's able to handle that pressure?
She just decided this is her senior year. This is her last match. Leave it all on the court. Last collegiate match. Take it. Do it.
It's so fun. She's got some great help around her. How would you describe the bond with these seniors here tonight?
There's 6 of them and then 7 with the addition of Madeline. They love each other. They've known each other for a long time prior to coming to Stanford, and then the fact that they got to play together was, I think, a dream come true for all of them. And they're taking they're taking the most advantage of it, and they're just, look at the smiles. That says it all.
It is really beautiful. All right, last thing before we let go. Mom, show them what your hat can do. Show me what your hat can do. This is not just a cardinal tree hat. This is a dancing hat as well. So the best parents right here. These are all American parents.
For the trees, baby.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly. You know, Paul, we got to see Stanford the last time they lost. It was at UCLA. Plummer was still in the middle of her rehab, and talked to her dad afterward, and he was not concerned. He said, they're doing the right thing. She's going to have a long career after this. It's really important to get her at a good state of health, because once you go to post-college volleyball, you have to play 7 or 8 months professional, more in the summertime. And so he was very happy with her progress, but also happy with the patience. And he was saying, hey, if she plays in the latter part of the season, great. If she doesn't, that's okay too. She's got to get healthy.
137th match together for that group, and then add graduate transfer Madeline Gates from UCLA. And that is the group. Nice dig into the cross court by Formico. And Catherine Plummer again. And one other note of information on Catherine Plummer. She has finished school. She will walk, if you will, in graduation in June. But she met with 4 agents yesterday. She will be turning pro immediately, probably going over to Europe. And the question I have for you, Coach Kirai, by her leaving school early or finishing early, turning pro and getting international experience with a very different ball, does that put her in a better position to play for you in 2020?
Well, I don't know about 2020, but Catherine spent some time with us in 2019. We both aspired to have her come in 2018, but her team had a really important trip to Europe. Every college team gets to do that once every 4 years. So she's got a very bright future after college volleyball, both professionally and lots of opportunities for USA.
That ball into the antenna and out of bounds. It is Stanford 14, Wisconsin 13. Let's take a look at Wisconsin's numbers. They're still not getting it going offensively. 133 in the match, 143 in this particular set. Stanford still hitting well over 300. Mentioned that Stanford was hitting 372 in the tournament. Well, the record is out of reach. Russ Rose's team, Penn State, hit 422 in the tournament and went on to their first of 4 in a row in 2007. 422 in the tournament.
And another record, winning 4 straight. Players like Blair Brown and Ari Wilson got to go 24-0 in their NCAA career. 6 wins, 4 seasons.
At one time during that stretch, Penn State won 102 in a row. Tiffany Clark back to serve. Nice little offensive stretch here for Wisconsin to hang in, trailing 15-14. Outscored 50-33 in the first 2 sets. Plummer on the right side, missed that one. So a couple of hitting errors here in the third for Plummer. She's cooling off. That's her 31st swing, 17 kills, but a couple of errors in this particular set.
So Stanford changes. They had Plummer on the right. Now they pull her over into what we call a stack reception. 3 hitters all on the left side. Adriana Fitzmaurice is going to try and run across and hit a slide.
Perfect pass. Good block touch by Wisconsin. Can they transition? Not yet. But Jenna Gray handles the first ball. Oh, good block on the outside. Haggerty with a little bit of help from Rettke, number 16. Timeout Stanford. Wisconsin back on top. And their fans, they're always into it, but they're into it now.
Jenna Gray, these are the kinds of swings, Paul, that Stanford was putting away with ease earlier in this match. But Kelly Sheffield changing those matchups has cooled down the transition offense of Stanford, getting a little better blocking lineups on Fitzmaurice and on McClure.
Wisconsin continues to pass well. 59% good passing compared to only 40% for Stanford, but the difference is in transition hitting. That's not even a contest. 26 transition kills for Stanford, hitting .368. Unheard of. Only 10 kills for Wisconsin, hitting .133. What does a good team internationally hit in transition, like you or Serbia or China?
In 2018 internationally, the best team in the world was Serbia at .265, well below that. So you could say that maybe Stanford coming out and hitting .400 in transition is unsustainable. I think they've cooled off in this set, and that is why Wisconsin is now in this match, causing serving trouble, causing passing trouble, and creating some scoring opportunities.
Full season rolls on Monday afternoon with the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl. UCF and QB Dylan Gabriel take on a stout Marshall defense, 2:30 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. Back with Karch Kirai, I'm Paul Sunderland. Really good crowd on hand. Pittsburgh has been a wonderful host. Next year, the national semifinals and finals will be back in Omaha, Nebraska. Here is Clark. And misses that serve into the net. We'll give you the serving numbers. That is 9 service errors for Wisconsin against 4 aces. Stanford 6 errors, 2 aces. But it's about much more than that. It's about continued, constant service pressure. On the slide, good block touch that time by Campbell. Haggerty's been a hot hand, instead going right side, easily dug into the cross court. Out of the back row, off the top of the tape, and Plummer registers her 18th kill. Remember, she had 26 in 3 sets against Minnesota on Thursday night.
Watch this swing by Plummer. It's going to go to our left. She's facing more to our right, but she hits this, we call that wrist away or thumb down. She has been fooling Wisconsin defenders all evening with that type of attack, facing one way, hitting another.
Nice swing by Haggerty. Boy, this is a tough, competitive kid. Remember, after she was Big Ten Freshman of the Year, she had to have back surgery, had a discectomy, and then blew out that disc again in April of what was her freshman year. She was either told to medically retire or try to rehab it. She rehabbed it, had to sit out her entire sophomore year, and now she's come back and she was second team all Big Ten.
Yeah, not many people come back from what she called that reherniation. And one of the things that added to her game, she didn't have a lot of power when she came back. So she had great hustle by Clark.
That's what we've seen from Clark all season long. That's more like it. Tight pass. Momentum possibly for Wisconsin. Not yet. Tied at 17. Rip into the cross court. Good heat that time by Adriana Fitzmaurice. What a play by Clark early in the point.
Yeah, we got to see that again. Love how she lays it out. And if you can't get 2 arms on it, get 1. But mostly you just get it up in the air. You don't even try to get it back in the court because you know you have teammates chasing.
Perfect pass. Retke ripping over the top. One-handed, left-handed bandit that time by Plummer. And McClure taking a very aggressive swing and misses that into the top of the tape. Tied at 18. Must-win situation for Wisconsin, obviously.
McClure's thinking. Wisconsin, we've seen staying on the floor too much. McClure erring on the side of too aggressive. That's what's been working for Stanford and its transition offense all evening.
Stanford hitting percentage starting to creep down just a little bit. Another transition opportunity. Plummer. And that's just too much heat. That ball could not be controlled. I think that's Ashburn. Yeah, it's Ashburn in the backcourt, number 11 in red for Wisconsin, and Stanford back on top. You've got Plummer out of the backcourt, good lineup up front. And look at this, Kendall Kipp, one of the top freshmen in the country, whose playing time has been limited. A little more size in the front court now for McClure.
Yes. Wisconsin made a change, Paul, to try to get a better matchup. Dana Redke hitting on McClure, so a response from Coach Hambly with Stanford. Bring in a taller blocker, Kendall Kipp. At 6'5", the freshman, going against Redke.
And she has got a rocket of an arm. Immediately they go against Kipp. Wow. Got to get used to that speed. Dana Redke is a special player.
Yeah, Kipp was trying to commit, but you'll see her a little bobble here. She stops and had traveled too far wide. She was actually a little early trying to slow down Redke.
Redke hits over 400 on the season and even better than that in the tournament. Plummer again. And that ball, their side, the Wisconsin fans are very excited, but that ball was tucked down inside the Wisconsin block. Kill number 20 for number 2.
A rare time for Plummer where the block had a chance at it, but the blockers didn't get hands across before the ball hit them.
Well, Coach Sheffield said something at serve and pass this morning. He said, look, when we're blocking against Plummer, I don't want you going up. Don't try to reach up with Plummer. You reach over the net. You penetrate. Get over. Combination play. Not there. Good touch by McClure. And Gates again. Madeline Gates on the night is 8 of 15 with 1 error. She's made 1 error in the entire tournament and may be on pace to set a new all-time NCAA tournament record for efficiency. Timeout called by Wisconsin. Stanford is 4 points away from their 9th ever NCAA title. Let's go over to Holly Rowe where we've got a Wisconsin timeout.
Stanford just a few points away now from their third national championship in 4 years. And you think of the remarkable journey of this senior class. They came in and they had great leadership their freshman year. Inky Ajanaku helped them rally and win a championship as freshmen, but they couldn't do it without her their sophomore year. That leadership had to develop and had to emerge. But then as juniors, they came back and won it all. They said, we are each other's best friend. We hold each other accountable at the highest level of excellence, whether it's with our friendships, with our academics, or what we're doing on the court. This nucleus of women have been here making history for Stanford, trying to put a real bow on their career tonight with the national championship.
Absolutely, Holly.
And part of that group, Coach Hambly gives setter Jenna Gray a lot of credit. Says her EQ, her emotional intelligence, is off the charts in terms of how she handles her various teammates with her leadership roles. But what a busy June she's going to have. She's going to have finals. She's going to graduate. She's going to have the NCAA track and field championships, the Olympic trials, a great javelin thrower, and very confident that the qualifying distance is within reach. So it's going to be a huge 2020 for her.
Might have a very busy July as well, and might check to see if her passport is valid. Coming out of the timeout. Also part of that senior class, Caitlin and Michaela Keefe.
Yeah.
Come from one of the great sports families in the history of Stanford. Adam Keefe, All-American basketball player. Kristen Klein, one of the great players and an Olympian for the Stanford Cardinal. Nice play! Plummer off the block and not there. What a play. That's what this team has been all about. Morgan Hentz making impossible plays look easy.
Yeah, and as Plummer comes down from the kill, she turned and said, I could read her lips, she said, that is so good. And it was a great up by Hentz.
And Morgan Hentz had to get the hell out of the way. Stanford looking to extend their lead. Timing not there, and the ball drops. Madeline Gates now 9 kills on 16 swings, and Stanford is 2 points away. Gates is 35 of 79 with 1 error. Nice play, right on cue. McClure, nobody there. Slam dunk. Oh, it was out of bounds. And Catherine Plummer said, we got a challenge. She's played a little internationally. That's the international sign for challenge. Get a look at this once again. Kevin Hambly will challenge for the first time. He's challenging ball in or out. Plummer, number 2 in white, thought that ball was on the line, so we've got a challenge.
Yeah, she turn to Coach Hambley with no doubts.
Let's get a look.
Remember, any part of the ball, that looks in. All it needs is some part of the ball on the white. You don't need all of it to land inside.
Well, and again, a volleyball, unlike a tennis ball will not compress, but a volleyball will. And so when it compresses any part of the ball on any part of the line, that was like the serve last year in the national championship finals. It was a little more dramatic. I think that was at 13-12 when Stanford edged out Nebraska.
Yeah, I think the ball compresses a little and catches some of that line, but it'll be up to the referees. As you say, it's got to be incontrovertible. Got to be very, very clear evidence to overturn the original call.
Both of these teams have had remarkable seasons. Wisconsin, the champions of the Big Ten, 18-2. They stand at 27-6 overall. All-American Sydney Hilly was the Big Ten Setter of the Year. Dana Rettke was the Big Ten Player of the Year for the Stanford Cardinal. 18-2. They won the conference championship over a period of time when Catherine Plummer missed 10 matches, and all of those were in conference play.
And her missing that segment has allowed them to fly under the radar. Under normal circumstances, they would have been the clear top seed favorite returning defending champion to this tournament.
We saw Stanford suffer a beatdown at UCLA. That was without, of course, Catherine Plummer. But they regrouped, and you get the best player in the country back. And again, she wouldn't divulge to us, and fine, and neither would anybody else for that matter. But she said, look, I'm 100%. It's behind me moving forward. And she's moving forward to a professional career.
And the person who's seen her the most is Kevin Hambley. And he said, oh, yeah, like she's beyond anything that I've ever seen her do with this program. After that time away and after that chance to rehab, get better, build better nutrition habits, work on some of the nuances of her game, including her serving.
So once again, the ball was called out of bounds. It's 23-20 now, point to Wisconsin. The evidence has to be absolutely irrefutable, has to be completely 100% clear. And so still waiting for, obviously for Wisconsin, a very, very important call. If this call is overturned, it's then 24-19 and 5 match points for Catherine Plummer and the Stanford Cardinal. So the decision has been made. It has been communicated to the official scores, and it's going to be match point. The ball is in, as you thought, Karch. The ball compressed some part of the ball on any part of the line, and now it is match points for the Stanford Cardinal. McClure to serve the first of 5 championship points. Hart finds a small seam, and the hopes are alive for the Badgers. Danielle Hart has had a nice match. We'll get you her numbers. Not a lot of opportunities. That's 6 kills on 17, no errors. Above 350. Match point number 2. Hilly's a good server. Plummer is available on the left side. Perfect pass. Gates for the championship. Stanford now stands head and shoulders above the rest. The 9th national championship and the 3rd in 4 years for this magnificent senior class of champions and All-Americans. Wisconsin finishes the year now with a record of 27-7. They will be back this is a talented group, and they are devastated. Stanford was just flat out better, Karch Kirai, from start to finish. They win it 25-16, 25-17, 25-20. Dana Rettke will be back. All-American and Big Ten Setter of the Year Sydney Hilly. Madison Duello is a redshirt senior and will move on. And of course, if I didn't mention Dana Rettke. So Wisconsin has established themselves over the last couple of seasons as an elite program. They will be back, and congratulations to the Badgers making their third national championship and still third championship match and still looking for their first title. Your thoughts on the contest?
Stanford in a rare situation getting dominated in the serve pass game. Most coaches will say that's critical. It was not critical at all for Stanford. Their broken play offense led by Catherine Plummer hitting over 400 in transition. Amazing the way Stanford found a way to not just win this match, but dominate this match.
And speaking of domination, our Holy Row is with a dominant force, Catherine Plummer.
Well, we were ready to talk to Catherine, but she's getting a tearful hug from Morgan Hentz and one of her fellow seniors. And Catherine...
Okay. Megan McClure was so good. Holly McClure
was great.
And so was Madeline Gates. But particularly, it was Catherine Plummer, the woman next to you, Holly, that set the tone and finished the deal.
That's right. And Catherine, you've had the weight of the world on your shoulders for 4 years now, and yet this year you were out here with a smile. You were comfortable with that weight. How were you able to deliver in this moment?
I mean, my team gives me so much patience every day in practice, all of the games. So it makes it super easy to carry a big load. I would do anything for this team, and they would do the same for me, and it's just such an awesome feeling to have it all culminate in this moment right now.
I see tears from everybody. You guys have been so calm and cool, collected here this year at the Final Four. How is this emotion now bubbling out of you in this moment?
I mean, it's a lot of laughs for us as a team, as a program. There's just a lot of hard work that goes in these 4 years, and we just knew that if we played our game, then everything would work out, and I think that's why these are happy tears. All of us are happy tears.
I love happy tears. You've been one of the most dominant players in America for 4 years. What are you proud of that you've been able to accomplish, Catherine?
I'm just proud of stepping up in big moments and just being that leader that people can rely on. And my team makes it really easy to do that.
Well, thank you so much. We'll grab a few of your other teammates. Morgan Hentz, big hugs for you and Catherine Plummer. This has been a hard journey for you. You give your body, you sacrifice your body night in and night out. How have you been there for your team literally in every possible way?
I mean, they just make me want to be a better player, but even more importantly, a better person. I'm sad it's over, man. This has been the best 4 years of my life, and it's because of these girls right here. They're my best friends. Sorry.
It's okay. 17 digs for you tonight, Morgan. You were at your best in this championship moment. How are you able to get to that ball time and time again, make it look so easy when it is so difficult?
I mean, I'm just giving it my all. I'm trying to go for every ball, even if I think I can't get there. I might not get there on 500 tries, but maybe on that 501, I'll get there.
Thank you so much. You have 4 championships in 3 years. How does that sound to you?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. But even more importantly, I got best friends for life.
Most important. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see if we can sneak in Jenna Gray here, the All-American setter, 3-time first-team All-American. And that trophy looks very comfortable in your arms. How does it feel right now?
It's very heavy, but I don't mind one bit.
You can carry that load for your team, can't you?
Yes, absolutely.
So tonight, you guys were so good in transition. Time and time again, you're scrambling, you're out of system, and you would find a way to put down a good ball. How were you so good in those moments?
I think that's one of the main things that we've been working on this past year, the past 4 years, is just being good in transition. And we talk a lot, we're just saying be courageous. There are balls that we're just like blasting up from off the end lines, and our hitters, Megan, I said my favorite swing of her from the night was she swung in the middle of the net, but she swung for it. And that makes me so proud. It was so courageous. There was so much heart in this match, and I'm just so proud to be a part of this team.
So you guys will leave. The seniors have left a legacy that is lasting. But what do you hope you imparted to these other underclassmen who will have to come back and play next year?
I hope that we just created a culture where it's okay to make mistakes, but just be courageous, take risks, because they'll pay off in the end, and I absolutely know that they will be fine without us. They are incredible players, incredible people, so I'm so excited to now watch them.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Paul.
Thank you, Holly. Boy, tremendous emotion and a generation coming to a close at Stanford, but they've won 9 championships throughout the decade, so they will just reload. But Karch, when I spoke with Kelly Sheffield, outstanding head coach of Wisconsin, earlier today, he said, we have a plan for Plummer. Well, you can have the best laid plans, but when you get punched in the face by a player who is just at a different level, they were in good positions defensively, but Plummer just overpowered them and shredded their defense as well as they were prepared.
As he said, the best non-All-American in the history of college volleyball, because she missed too many matches, wasn't eligible for the award, but she tore up the defense and block of Wisconsin. 22 kills, 5 errors, hit .459, and many of those swings were when Wisconsin, they were broken play swings, so Wisconsin had time to set up lock and deep.
A very happy mother and father, and with good reason. Another note, Madeline Gates does finish her final NCAA tournament graduate transfer with the new NCAA hitting efficiency record. So an NCAA championship and a record for Gates. Let's go back to Holly.
I'm here with head coach Kevin Hambley. And Coach, how relieved were you when you saw that Gatorade bucket coming your way and it was confetti that came out instead of Gatorade?
Honestly, the feeling I'm feeling most right now is I'm kind of sad. I just, like, people are going to define these seniors by their championships, but we don't define ourselves by that stuff. We define them more by who they are as people and the character of that. And they're just unbelievable people to coach every single day. And so, I'm hugging these guys, and I'm glad they can go out this way in the championship. But even today at practice, we had our last practice, and I'm sitting here, and I'm just sad. I was sad. It's like the last time I get to coach Jenna Gray and Catherine Plummer and Caitlin Keefe and go down the line, and so I'm kind of bummed. I mean, I know we'll celebrate and we'll have a good time, but it's an end for them, and I'm going to miss them a lot.
You are. It's such a unique position you came into. This class was already here. You came in and took over after their freshman season. How hard was that to walk into this and feel like, I better not mess this up?
Well, you said that in our meeting. We were talking, like, just don't screw it up. And, these guys did so much to, like, make me feel like they were open to change and open to do the things that we wanted to do as a program. They made it so easy for us. So I never felt like I could screw it up. Like, they weren't going to let me. They were too open. They're too honest. They're too good. And, they're just a really special group of kids.
Madeline Gates came to your program late this season. She just broke the NCAA record for efficiency in a championship match. How do you describe the way that new senior showed up for you tonight?
She fit great. I think she integrated. She had a great tournament. I mean, she had one hitting error, I think, the entire tournament. It's really cool to see her shine. It was a big risk for her to come, right? It's a big risk to make a transfer move. And join a team that just won the national championship. If they don't win, it's going to be on her. And so I'm really happy for her as well.
Okay, can't wait to see what you continue to build without these seniors, Coach. Thank you so much.
We have work to do. Thanks. I appreciate it a lot.
Thank you, Holly. Karch, your thoughts. This did not go the way anybody anticipated. I am shocked. Wisconsin has had such a good season. They have so much talent. They are so well coached. But Stanford just played nearly a perfect match, and Catherine Plummer, no surprise, has been named once again the outstanding player of the NCAA national semifinals and finals. She had 22 kills tonight in a sweep, and she had 26 on Thursday night against Minnesota. There was never any doubt that she was going to be the most outstanding player.
Well, we were thinking we would favor Stanford in this match, but maybe a close 4-set match, maybe even go 5. Plummer showed us a new gear in terms of what she could do when the other team had all the time in the world to set up their block and defense, and she just tore them up on offense.
Now that we've seen Catherine Plummer at 100%, I mean, what absolutely a performance. Once again, congratulations to the Stanford Cardinal. Their 9th title overall. Now, last year, they were heads above everybody else. Now they are head and shoulders on top of everyone else. 3 out of the last 4 and 2 straight. On the other side after the break, we'll send it back over to Courtney Lyle and Salima Rockwell. Stanford in the NCAA tournament, the first ever for the championship. What a performance. Plummer off the edge and Stanford wins it. Two-story programs playing for a singular championship in that crown. Once again, ripping into the cross court. Plummer off the edge of the block. What a dig by Hens. McClure for the win. Stanford stands alone with their 8th title.
It started in 2016 with the senior class's first title. Now they've tacked on 2 more. 3 out of the last 4 years, the Stanford Cardinal is your national champion. And what a way to do it. Courtney Lyle, Salima Rockwell with you back here in Pittsburgh. So many emotions. I mean, you see the tears from these girls. They love each other so much. This is one of the highlights of their career, and they dominated. How did they do that?
It was an unbelievable performance by Stanford tonight. Everyone knew this was going to be a good match. Wisconsin was playing such a high level of volleyball up until this point, but Stanford's offense and service pressure was just a little bit too much for Wisconsin this evening. It was hard for them to find a rhythm, to be in system, consistently be comfortable with what they were doing. And Stanford, it's what they do. They're fantastic out of system. They have Catherine Plummer, who can get them out of trouble at any point, and that's what gave them the match tonight.
You bet they have Catherine Plummer. And again, she is the tournament's most outstanding player with 22 kills in the championship match, hit .459.
I mean, it's just ridiculous numbers that she is scoring, but it was her blocking, it was her serving, and everything else that she was doing for the team. But the biggest thing was her out-of-system game, hitting balls you just don't see people do every day. A ball that you can't even see the block in front of you. She's not just keeping in play, but she was scoring.
Can you believe she averaged 6.75 kills per set in the tournament? That's huge! Oh my gosh! But then you have Morgan Hens, who lays her life on the line every match, and she was everywhere tonight.
She was everywhere. She always is everywhere. And once again, making these plays where Jenna Gray can still run her offense. Even if she was playing a ball where she was laying out for, they were able to get a swing in transition. And that's the key. That was the key to their survival tonight. Morgan Hens all over the floor.
What a ride it has been for this senior class. Starting in 2016, they came in as freshmen, won the national title, and now 3 titles for their career. It's just impressive, and a senior class that Stanford will never forget.
I would describe my class's success as just setting a really high standard for ourselves. And that's not just on the volleyball court, but that's like in the classroom and with our friends too. We've put a lot of our focus on building really strong relationships with our teammates and with whoever we're around, because we believe that's the foundation of making a program excellent.
So we bring in just so many different personalities, and somehow we all work together really well and complement each other, especially now by this 4th year. We have so much trust in each other, and there's so much almost nonverbal communication that you don't even have to say, you just know they're going to go for it. So I think that provides a really strong foundation.
They just want to be great, and they're not done. Not one of our seniors thinks that they're a complete player yet. They all are trying to get better every single day. And so that sets a tone again in the gym and inside that group where they're not ever going to take a play off.
I think this one would be the most special just because there has been a lot of talk and there has been a lot of pressure, and managing expectations is really hard. But at the end of the day, it's really just about each other and our teammates and not what other people are saying. So I think just winning it for each other will mean the most. This championship would be more special because we would be doing it in our final year together. This weekend is a bunch of laughs for us. So I think it kind of would just be the cherry on top of putting an end to our senior year.
The Stanford senior class, wow. Look at that record in the NCAA tournament. Now 22-1. Their only loss coming in 2017. 4 national semifinals, 3 national championships. What a resume for these seniors, and Holly Rowe is standing by with 2 of them.
Well, I'm here with one of the most unusual seniors of this group, Madeline Gates, and you had to come in and acclimate quickly for this team. How were you able to go from brand new to really dominant here in this championship moment?
I mean, I think the fact that we played such good teams from the start of the year, like we played Texas and Penn State, so a lot of really great teams at the beginning, so I think that definitely helped get me used to big games, but definitely just having such an amazing team with me has been incredible, so I'm so lucky to be playing with these girls.
How were you able to be so efficient tonight? You were on the money.
I think that really goes down to like our amazing passers and setters. So Jenna was really just putting me in the perfect spot every time, and sometimes their block wasn't able to close, so that was really helpful.
All right, Adriana Fitzmaurice, you started out as a little girl in Kansas City with Jenna Gray. You guys went to the national championship as kids. Now here you are with your third national championship. How do you describe that journey?
It's really tough to describe, because to think back that I played with Jenna for now 8 years, I'm really happy that it ended this way. And this entire group of people, it's all about the people that you do the experience with, and this group is something special. So I can't describe it any further than that.
I know you guys have been winners on the court, but how do you hope people in the Stanford community remember this class as people, not just winners and volleyball players?
Yeah, I think coming in, we wanted to leave our legacy as one that Stanford fans wanted to bring their daughters to the games, and we've done a lot of things interacting with kids and reaching out to the community, and I hope that our presence will continue to be felt as we keep going forward, and the girls coming after us will keep that as a priority moving forward too.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. What do you tell these young kids? They're going to be without all these senior leaders next year. What do you tell this young class that they've got to start doing immediately to get ready for next season?
I mean, I think everyone's already been working super hard in the gym, and every day we've been playing against each other, so I think just the super high level of play that they've already brought, just keep doing that.
Yeah. Sounds about good.
Congratulations, lady. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
What an example this next generation of Stanford players has to look up to. This senior class, tremendous for Stanford. Coverage of the NCAA championships continues with the FCS Football National Championship Saturday, January 11th at 12 p.m. Eastern on ABC. For more information on the NCAA FCS Football Championship, visit ncaa.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. Stanford gets it done, their third title in the last 4 years. What's impressed you most in this championship match for the Cardinal?
Oh man, I'd like to say there was one thing, but there were so many things they did well. They were fantastic out of system. When they didn't have a perfect pass, they were still able to score at will. I also was super impressed with their block. It wasn't just the blocks on paper that you can track. It was the block touches. It was the ability to smother Wisconsin and not give them any room to breathe. And I thought those two things were huge factors tonight in their win.
9 national titles for Stanford, the most all time. What a fun night it has been. It's going to be a fun trip home for this Stanford Cardinal team. Let's send you back over to Paul Sunderland and Karch Karai.
Thank you, Courtney. When I think about this team, Karch, and I want to ask you about it, you look back at some of the great teams of all time that did it over an extended period. Penn State won 4 in a row from 2007 to 2010. Stanford won 4 in a row back in the 3 out of 4. And this team has won 3 out of 4. This team has to go down. After this performance against a really good Wisconsin team, this team has to go down as one of the best of all time.
Absolutely. And Salima mentioned some of the things Stanford did well, but another thing they did well is we saw play after play, their offense caused such trouble for the other team, for Minnesota 2 days ago, for Wisconsin today, that they would get their better swings after that. So even when they didn't get a kill, it was a virtual kill. And also, we didn't get to give props in the broadcast as the match was going on, but Denise Corlett, assistant coach, 9 titles. I don't know if you get some kind of award for that, but that is amazing. She's been a part of every one of Stanford's 9 titles.
What do you take if you're Wisconsin from a match like this?
As Coach Sheffield said, wow, we've run into the best non-All-American ever. She'll be gone. They have a lot of pieces coming back, so they have a lot to build on. Really impressed with the kind of season that they put together after a 4-4 start, resetting, 18-2, winning the Big Ten. they're capable of doing that again and using this experience and this disappointment to fuel them in the spring and on into the next season.
And what a lot of people don't know, Stanford last year had the #1 recruiting class in the country, but the seniors were all so good we didn't get to see many of those freshmen. So Stanford wins their 9th overall, more than anybody else, head and shoulders better in the history of women's college volleyball. Congratulations to Stanford for winning the national championship. For Karch Kirai, Holly Rowe, I'm Paul Sunderland saying so long from Pittsburgh. Stay tuned. College basketball. St. John's takes on Arizona at the Chase Center in San Francisco. The Cardinal win it again.